Right now on KREM 2 News at noon, the retrial for the murder of Ruby Doss continuing today. This afternoon, what happened in opening statements and what's expected to happen next.
And we have seen a few snowflakes for today, and that's just the beginning of what is going to be a snowy weather pattern heading into this weekend.
Plus, Spokane Hyundai is trying to fix a problem that makes the cars very easy to steal. This comes after a spike in theft happened over the summer. Hi everyone, so good to see you. Welcome to KREM 2 News at noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin by taking a look at the weather forecast. It's what everyone is talking about. So snow is here, and so are some winter weather advisories. Let's join meteorologist Thomas Patrick to get the very latest. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, good afternoon, Laura. And a true dusting of snow is what has fallen so far today. That's about all that it's going to be. And yes, this is just quite literally a dusting of snow from our outdoor weather center. Maybe just a couple snowflakes still left over as of right now, but the main event hits tomorrow morning, and we have winter weather advisories still in preparation of that more proper snowfall that is going to amount to a couple inches of snow by the time we get into the afternoon Saturday. So winter weather advisory for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene through the Palouse and most of the inland northwest. The pink shaded areas like out towards the Silver Valley, Lookout Pass, and all up and down the Cascades, those are winter storm warnings, the more severe criteria for a lot more snow with the same storm system that's heading our way. But today, nothing more than this, just light snow flurries, enough for a dusting, a light coating, but even looks like that's just kind of drifting past. These are the early stragglers, the early arrivers to the party in terms of the snow, because the accumulating snow is going to wait until likely after midnight tonight. But once we get into tomorrow morning, we'll get little bursts of snowfall, 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow at a time, but we get about 3 different rounds of such in the next 48 hours. So coming up, get a timeout when those rounds of snow are going to be passing through our region and how much total snow you can expect for these next 2 days. That's all coming up in a few minutes.
The trial for the former Pasco police officer accused of killing a woman in Spokane back in the 80s is underway right now. Both the defense and the prosecution gave their opening arguments yesterday. The prosecution says DNA from a condom that investigators found at the crime scene did indeed match Richard Aguirre's DNA. Even though DNA processing did not exist back in 1986 when the murder happened, investigators kept the evidence and were able to match the DNA once they had the technology, and that was back in 2002. However, the defense says investigators mishandled the DNA over the years and it had been cross-contaminated. Plus, they say investigators did not find any of Aguirre's DNA on Ruby Doss's body. Doss's daughters were at the trial yesterday, and we heard from them for the very first time. Lakisa Doss was just 9 years old when her mom was murdered.
It's really hard, but our mother was a mother.
This is the second time Aguirre has been on trial for murdering Ruby Doss. Last time was back in 2021, and the judge at that time called a mistrial. This time, Aguirre has waived his right to a jury, so the judge in this case will hear the arguments and decide his guilt or not. Court is back in session right now. We have a reporter in the courtroom, and we'll be bringing you the very latest both on KREM.com and right here on KREM 2 News, first at 4. This is coming in new at noon today. The gag order against former President Donald Trump, that has been put back in place. Just this morning, a state appeals court in New York reinstated a gag order limiting what he could say about people involved with the trial. The appeals court rejected his argument that ordered that he said was unconstitutional. State officials argued the gag order was indeed necessary because of the threats directed at the clerk after Trump went after her on social media. The judge in the case says he intends to enforce that order vigorously. Coming in new in the last 12 hours, U.S. Marshal and officials in Florida have arrested an Eastern Washington man who has been on the run since 2019. He was wanted on federal charges for a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme involving fake insurance claims. Now, according to the U.S. Marshal's office, William Mize used the profits from his alleged schemes to buy luxury yachts and cars. Court documents allege that Mize caused or participated in dozens of fake car accidents and falls. Insurers say he was paid more than $6 million in fake claims. A judge has ordered his extradition back here to Spokane. After a spike in car thefts across the nation, Hyundai dealerships are now taking some steps to prevent more vehicles from being stolen. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones telling us what's being done locally to fight this very problem.
Yeah, and it's been such a big problem that here in Eastern Washington, a local law enforcement auto theft task force was created to try and curb all of the thefts that we've seen in our region. And actually, they've made a lot of arrests. Many are young teenagers, but they're still saying that the theft is still a major problem. And it all started because of the Kia Boys. The Kia Boys are a social media trend that lays out a manual on how to steal Kias and Hyundais. This weekend, Spokane Hyundai is holding a recall event to try and solve the issue that makes the vehicles susceptible to theft. Hyundai drivers can bring their vehicle to the dealership and receive an anti-theft software upgrade for free. These are actions that both Hyundai employees and local law enforcement are hoping will minimize the number of stolen vehicles.
The easiest way to find out whether your vehicle is affected or not, just Google Hyundai recalls and just make sure you look for the HyundaiUSA.com version.
All right, so it'll likely be a pretty busy weekend because around 5,400 Hyundais across Eastern Washington are eligible for the anti-theft upgrade. 13 different types of Hyundai vehicles are potentially affected by the lack of anti-theft protection. And as for the recall event, it'll be hosted this Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. both days. You can go online and schedule an appointment for that time frame, but the dealership is also saying that an appointment is not necessary. For now, reporting in Spokane Valley, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.